Oh, am I here? Goodness. Okay. So, am I working here now? Can everybody hear me? Let's see what I can do here. Which means, wow, what a bloody stuff up. It means I probably can't see everybody's stuff, maybe. Oh, well, this is so different doing it this way. Okay. All righty. Now, welcome. So sorry about all the stuff up. However, doing it on a phone now, because I can't, I don't know what's going on with technology. Apparently, Pete, someone said to me, what was PTV? PTV is Psyche TV. So Psyche TV are live tonight as well. And I guess Michael informed me that they were having the same issue as me. So I've never had that issue ever before. So my deepest apologies for it. And this is the first time I'm actually using it on my phone. So if I stuff up, then it's just going to stuff up because, yeah, it's just not normal me doing it on a phone. And with the phone too, I can only probably see 2 or 3 things at a time. So it's even not going to allow me to probably go up and down as well as what I would normally do. So that's really disappointing. So, you know, I haven't been on for a long time and bugger, that's the first thing it wants to do to me. So maybe I'm with who have I got? I'm with Vodafone and my internet's with Optus, so maybe they're having an outage. So yeah, someone's just saying it's all good. I go live on my phone all the time. Melissa, thank you for joining. I don't normally, because my computer, everything is set up in this room that it just works perfectly all the time. So my apologies to everybody, because now it's just kind of dragged on as a bit of a drama. If I miss your comment, because we're now on this phone, if I miss your comment, please don't think I'm deliberately ignoring everybody, because they're really coming through thick and fast. I don't know whether that's the transfer over from the computer as well as you guys writing new stuff. So, yeah, clearly there's just a bit of a drama. Okay, all righty. We started off, when I was talking and no one can hear me, I was starting off by saying that I had missed doing my lives, but I've had so much going on that it was just impossible for me to do so. And that might be relevant, like, later on in the show. But also too, normally the housework that I call it housework that gets done, is that if you guys can like and share this live feed, and also like the page, and anybody who's wanting a guaranteed reading tonight, if they want to guarantee their reading, then they can just pop, or sorry, I should say donate $10 into my PayPal account, which on my both my this page and my Mystique page, the details of my PayPal account is there, but the bottom, obviously the bottom part of the fee is not working on the phone. So yay. I'm not used to technical difficulties. Mine normally work like a breeze. I see some people have trouble and I think, oh, poor them, because it doesn't normally happen to me. So maybe it's my turn. Now, apart from all that stuff, I hope everybody is well and certainly doing their best they can through, depending where everyone's tuning in from. But I know there's quite a few people that are in lockdown, and that's the first thing I want to address tonight as well. And everybody who knows me, and I know there's some new people on tonight, and possibly people from around the world, and everybody's going to be different. So what I want to say to you all, with the greatest respect, I'm not going to talk about COVID as such. I'm not going to talk about vaccines. That's all everybody's personal choice. And what everybody thinks about COVID is a personal thing. What everybody thinks about vaccines is a personal thing. But what I want to say about it is, with anything to do with readings, Excuse me. Wow, someone just got me right in the throat, just like punched me right in the throat as if to say, you're not allowed to speak like that. However, if anybody is wanting to ask questions on finding their soulmate, and people know that I do say everything with the greatest respect, so people who are going to ask questions about finding their soulmate or finding a partner in life or just wanting to know where they're going to meet their partners, can we all just be a little bit respectful in the sense of some countries overseas are still in COVID and still in lockdown. Other countries are kind of all partying and coming out and, masses in the street. There's other countries that are even fighting and carrying on. Australia itself, half the country is in complete lockdown. While you're in lockdown, you can't meet anybody, it's impossible to meet anybody. Sure, there's dating websites and all the rest of it, and you can start chatting to someone, but you're not necessarily going to meet a soulmate during this time. Now, the universe doesn't really stick on a time limit as such in this sort of area. So if I'm looking at the cards and I see someone coming, then I'm actually not going to give you like a time frame as such, because time will kind of freeze, because the spirit world and the universe doesn't understand COVID as such, and doesn't understand that people are in lockdown. So those time limits and those sorts of things are kind of out of the question, in the sense of it would be very unprofessional of me if I said you're going to meet someone in 6 months' time, but it blows out to 12 months, 18 months, and then you come back at me and tell me that I was wrong. Because the 6 month time frame might be what I would have seen on a normal day in the cards, but it's not necessarily going to equate while we're into lockdown and COVID and such. So I'm really hoping that everybody can understand that and actually respect of what we're kind of all going through. And look, there's a lot of us that want to meet our soulmates. If I just touch on that for a little bit more, because there is a lot of people. I mean, I personally lost someone not so long ago. And that person, was the love of my life and has been in my life for a very long time. But things happen. And I'd love the universe to say to me, do you know what? I talk to you directly every day, so I'm going to send you someone, quickly. Well, that would be nice. But I know that's not going to happen, because I'm not going out. I'm not meeting anybody. I'm not bumping into people. Like, I do have to, possibly go out if there's a domestic violence victim that I need to do my other stuff with. But I'm not necessarily going to go out to meet people. So, do you understand where I'm coming from here? Because it's just, now Andrew's jumped in saying he doesn't think he'll ever find his soulmate. Do you know what? Stop thinking about soulmates, because we're kind of, won't be able to get them at this point in time. Do you know what? I've just realised that I'm actually not going to see, now I don't have all the thing, I'm actually not going to see if anyone has done PayPal. So can you message me if you have? Well, maybe I'll try and get that up on my computer, because otherwise that's going to be just a nightmare as well, trying to work that out. Oh, I love technology. It's just so good. But yeah, so now look, I didn't say any of that soulmate stuff to offend anybody. I really didn't. What it is just, it's clearly just trying to get everybody, on the same path. And that same path is, if we were all out of lockdown and we're all running free and we could all do what we want, it's going back to, some normality and being able to meet people at least. But everybody is still going to, I don't know. I mean, I make a joke of it when I say, does everybody have to then say, oh, have you been vaccinated, or have you been, near anybody with COVID? Like, we don't know what this is all going to be like. But patience is a virtue with all of this. And as much as that seems like a feeble word to some, if we don't have any patience, how are we really going to survive even other things that that we come up against? because we come up with a lot of stuff. Yeah. So a lot of us go through stress. A lot of us handle stress in very, very different manners. So it's not about brushing the soulmate thing to the side. It's more about understanding where we actually go from here. So, as I said, I'd like to find love. Not having anyone in my life now, it feels really strange and it feels really weird, but that's okay because, I can focus on other things. And focusing on other things, whether you do that to keep yourself busy or if you just want to create something new in your life, then spend all that time looking at yourself. Like, are you all the best versions of yourself? Spend the time to focus on you. It actually gives you time to kind of go, do you know what? I am important and I'm going to do that for me. Okay. So, okay, Ella, if you can send me your question, that would be great. Because Ella will be first cab off the rank because she's guaranteed her reading with donating the $10 into my PayPal. So, Lenny, hello. Thanks for joining. I've had some, I don't know who you use because PTV and myself are having issues with doing lives tonight. So just a warning, just in case that that Lenny, if you have the same problem, because I had to do mine on my phone. So you might be up against the same issue, but just a little warning for you there. But thanks for stopping on by. Okay. Now, Stella, if you can please send me your message, that would be awesome. And I haven't got around to actually scrolling through. And yeah, Lenny, I do mine on my own page as well. I was just saying that PTV, separately to me, PTV are having problems tonight. And I, for the first time, have had problems with mine because there's no sound. So nobody could get any sound. So everybody that's doing lives tonight, Lenny, is having problems with their sound. So I was just letting you know. But if you get it, good on you. It's the good for you time for that. Anyway, let's get back to my page, shall we? Okay. I'm still waiting to hear from Stella. So I wish you'd ask a question. Yeah, Lenny, it's working now because I'm on my phone. Going through my computer, it wouldn't work. And that's what PTV are having as well. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Please stop asking the questions. Just listen to what I'm trying to say. With respect. Okay? Okay, so I'm not knowing. Jacqueline, it's if you just start typing in Mystique, it should come up. It normally comes up on my screen. But because I've jumped onto my phone, the scrolly bit on the bottom is not working. Anyway, Stella, here you go. I just wanted to ask if my grandma's okay now. I miss her, and I won't be able to pop your comments up on the screen either because it won't let me do it now with transferring this way. Stella, don't call me Mother Hen, Lenny. Melissa, just put in the Mystique. It should start coming up. Okay. This is all just driving me nuts now. Because I can't see it all at once. Okay, so let's get back in the zone. I'm going to touch on your foot first. Your foot is actually going to be fine. Little bit of technicalities with it. And I say this with respect. It's more about you don't have the patience for it to heal, okay? Because it wants to heal, but you need to be very vigilant with what you're doing because, in hindsight, if you're not, you're actually going to, what I get shown is something about this long. You're actually going to tear it in a path that you never thought possible, okay? So I need you to be really, as much as that sounds horrible, and I'm sorry to sort of say it that way, but that's what Spirit jumped in my head with. It's almost like It's almost like, for instance, if you lose your patience with actually resting it and giving it the time it needs, spirit's already jumping in my throat because I never had a throat problem really before I come in on here. Seems to be the fun that the spirit has with me lately. If you don't give it the rest that it needs, when you move it to a certain, like, you know, if you get up and go for a walk, for instance, and it's more likely that you won't be walking on it in the proper manner, and you'll tear something, you know, like something different, and that's going to kind of put you out from walking and running for a long time, and therefore you're going to get more frustrated with yourself. So spirit is kind of saying to me, please get her to rest, please get her to put her foot up, because in every normal day life you don't put your feet up. Okay. It's kind of like, you know, if I said to you every Saturday afternoon, please sit down and actually, you know, elevate your legs and watch a movie, you'd say, oh, I don't have time for that. You know, I've got to walk the dogs, I've got to go and I've got to cook this, I've got to go back and do a gym class. Oh, look, I want to do another one, or I just want to get out and about. You know, at this time, I would ask you, please give your foot a chance. Give it a chance to rest and be able to knit those little nerve endings together again. Because if you don't, and it tears a little bit more, there's just going to be a bit of a problem. And it's going to put you out for some time. In saying that as well, what I also get with you, and I'm sure it's associated with your Nan, that there's more and more anxiety that you've kind of gone through in the last, oh, look, I actually want to say 6 weeks, you know, virtually bordering on 6 to 8 weeks. It's almost like that you, and it's not like you, oh, say this properly. It's not like you knew in a way that your Nan was going to pass, even though, you know, you kind of thought that. But it's almost like every day was an anxious wait. And I think you put a lot of pressure on yourself to go through that, kind of go, well, you know, is it today? Is it tomorrow? Is it tonight when I go to sleep? And I think all that pressure build up, it became in a way, and please take this the right way, because it's going to sound really weird, but this is how spirit brings it to me. It's kind of like in a way that the grieving process hurts more now, because it was that anticipation build up, like, you know, is it today? Is it tomorrow? Is it, you know, am I going to wake up to it? You know, why isn't anyone calling me today? All these sorts of things were kind of floating around in your head. Melissa, let me have a look. If Melissa, if you can just jump onto my where I actually put the post up to for tonight's live, when I had where I write down all the things that, you know, people have got to do. It's actually, the link's in there. So if you go to my Mystique Psychic Medium page, it's there. And if you're on this page, it'll be at the top of the actual thing itself. Okay. So I can't do it while I'm on my phone doing the live from here now, because it's just buggered up. So if you can actually pop or have a look at that, that would be good. The only other way, see, I can't even do it from here. Stella, bear with me 2 seconds. And everybody else, because it's just going to look strange now that I do this. I can't go. Okay. Okay. Melissa, it will now be on the bottom of the screen. Okay. I know it's confusing and a little bit frustrating, so I do apologise for technical difficulties that have kind of stuffed up tonight's return. Okay, so anyone that's getting a bit upset, I do apologise. Lee, thank you so much. I've just got the bottom scrolling thing working, but thank you for jumping in and saving on that one. Stella, To me, yeah, to me, getting back to that, waiting for the phone to ring, wondering if it's tonight, wondering if it's tomorrow night, wondering if it's going to happen when I go to bed, all that sort of stuff. It's really, really hard. Uh, Kim, I've got you. Um, Brilliant. It's the moment, the moment when you got, I have to say it the way I hear it, the moment that you got angry and thought that things weren't quite right, the more your own intuition actually kicked in above it. Now, when you went to Grandma and you touched her and you held her hand and you even brushed her hair, now those sorts of moments are moments that I, want to say to you that I cherish and that I love. And the amount of respect that she has for you, that brushing of the hair, that making sure that she was okay, or if I wanted to say to you, the moment when she felt that you were going to make sure that she looked okay, because in her younger years it was like she was not, I don't want to say the star of the show, but it was like she was well presented and she liked making a fuss of herself, but that's just her way of going, do you know what? If I'm going out to something today, I want to be, when I teach people to be the best versions of themselves, it's like, no, I want to feel like I've done what I can to make myself look good. Does that make sense? So when fiddled with her hair and kind of prettied up the bed and stuff like that, and even to the point of almost making the bed, so it was all perfect in a manner. They were in her eyes, that was you fluffing around and making her comfortable, making her look good, making her feel good. And the moment she felt good, the moment she knew that everything was done and dusted and she couldn't do anything further, that was the moment that she felt comfortable enough to say, do you know what, take my hand because I'm tired. Take my hand, I don't want to be in pain anymore. Take my hand because I love you. Okay, these are the moments that are just, they're beautiful moments to cherish in something that can be so devastating, so personal. And grieving, there's no time limit. How one person grieves, it however long they take that amount of time. There is no time limit. So please don't think you only have that certain manner to grieve. Everybody grieves differently. What I want to say to you though is this is going to sound weird because you actually showed me a photograph of some flowers, but the colourfulness in those flowers certainly represented her. She was a woman that was so colourful. She was colourful within herself. She was a colourful personality. She was, when she was, oh, I just got told where, oh, she's a little bit cheeky. When she was allowed to be colourful, she did so. So this is what I love about her. Like, her personality can be quiet, her personality can be a little bit shy, but at times when she wants to just burst out or bust out, as she calls it, that's what she does. And sometimes that can be shock value to some people, but other times it can be, do you know what? I'm here. I'm here for fun. I'm here to engage, all that sort of stuff. So that's what I want you to focus on. I want you to focus on, you gave your nan a beautiful last moment with yourself, if that's the way I want to say it, and she loves you dearly. And she couldn't have asked for anyone better that doted over her to just make sure that everything was okay for her to go. So in a way, with respect to you, that she loves you. And I actually want to say to you that the jewelry is her personal touch, and her personal touch was what she wanted to give to you because you always gave her your personal touch throughout life. So the jewelry, with respect, they are her like most treasured moments, where if you know the stories around when she got those particular items, then you'll understand why she wanted you to have them, because the stories associated with them are good, and they're funny, and they're just a little bit different, and that's only something personal that you will engage in. But when you put them on, if you can just sit with one and maybe hold the other and just kind of go, do you know what? And if you can remember, if you don't remember the stories around them, please ask your mum or your auntie or somebody else that they can tell you. Yeah, because that's what I feel with that. So I hope all that helps you, my love. And I'm sorry for the interruptions that happen along the way through that reading, but you will understand why. Okay, now next was, and I'm people that are paying. Still, I don't mean to make you cry. I so don't want to make you cry, but I do hope they are tears of joy, because she is such a beautiful soul, and she comes through in parts. She is soft, and she's soft and sweet, and then she just goes bam at me and says, when I was allowed to. So God love her. She has a beautiful soul. So yeah. To everybody else, the people that are paying to get a guaranteed reading, they're going to be done in order as I can see them on my PayPal account. And if that's the case, because I can't see your questions, the next one is Debbie Ansell. So Debbie, if you can send me your question, that would be awesome. The question after that, and I think, Rachel, you've actually written it in PayPal, which is that's so cool, because that saves me looking back for that. So Rachel, you will be after Debbie, if Debbie can send me her question. Oh, jumped in straight away. Oh my gorgeous Hudson Hawk is here. Oh, this is the first time you've watched, I think, my darlings. Oh, Hudson, my man. No, not my man, really. I shouldn't say that. His family might be watching. Hudson is a very, very dear friend of mine. He's also in a couple of, I think one has been released. Please correct me if I'm wrong, darling. One has been released where he plays a junior version of My Heartthrob, The Rock. So the movie demonstrating, or I shouldn't say that word, but Hudson can probably inform people if he wants to. The movie about The Rock's life. My dear friend Hudson Hawk, who is a wrestler, and a gorgeous one at that, and a yay good one at that. He is he plays a younger version of The Rock, and he does it very, very well, because he's so gorgeous, and he's got muscles to die for when you just hug him. And anyway, enough of that, going off track, but thank you for jumping in. A wonderful guy with a really solid, kind heart. I love him to death. Absolutely love him to death. So Debbie. Will my situation, I can do it. Will my situation change soon? Any messages from my dad? So, check that off screen. Okay. Okay, will my situation change? Any messages from my dad? Debbie, the first thing I actually want to say to you is one, a bit of a cliche the way it actually comes across, but it was the first card I got. It was also the first thing that I heard in my ear. Hudson, Young Rock, season 2. We're starting to on later this year. Brilliant. You're awesome. Michael, any Mystique moments tonight? I think I've had one with Hudson tonight, my Mystique moment. I'm only kidding. We don't want to take it down that avenue. Anyway, Hudson owes me the biggest hug. The biggest hug. He owes me a night out, a day out. He owes me a shirt. He owes me something from The Rock. No, I'm kidding. He doesn't owe me a thing. He's gorgeous. Now, Debbie, one of the cards I actually got, and what was one of the things that I heard, which is what I wanted to say, that, sometimes it's like a cliche that, a door is going to close, another one opens, but I feel that the door is going to slam shut. That's virtually what I got. I got this like massive just bang, and that's probably why I held my ear, because it just kind of went smack bang. And I don't know whether it's because I never want to bring COVID into it, but it's almost like I'm being told by my dad that possibly what's happening around COVID has made you had something like an awakening moment, like not going through an actual transformation awakening as such, but going through something where you've kind of sat back and gone, oh my God, if I don't start to think about myself and think about where I want to put myself, nothing's ever going to change. Where am I going? It's almost like part of you. I feel like someone, not necessarily someone, but something has kind of ripped your heart open, where you've kind of looked at it and gone, oh my God, like, how many chances do I have to, how many chances do I have to take for something to actually happen to me? Does that make sense? Because it's almost like, how do I say it? Like certain situations, and I want to virtually say like 12 or 13 years, certain situations, and I get the number 5. Got it on this screen. You can't even, you guys can, but I can't see it on my screen. But it's almost like 5 things. So 5 things seems to have repeated themselves in your life in the last 12 to 13 years. And it's almost like each time it happens, you kind of go, excuse my French, but I got to say it as I hear it. It's like, oh shit, how come this is happening again? Why is this happening to me all the time? And this is part of this kind of merry-go-round where you kind of take things on board against someone else with another, how do I say, like another kind heart. You take things on board, you help so many people, but there's a lot of people that will just not necessarily chuck it back in your face, but things happen where their loyalties change. And you then have to wear the brunt of that, unfortunately, because it's like they just go, bang. And that's what I feel like this, where I say this, this awakening type thing. It's like, when your heart is open, there's that feeling of, wow, it's time for me. So I feel that that's gone on. But I also feel that you're feeling something from a elder female, and I wanted to go straight to a grandma, but I actually don't think it is grandma. I think it's somebody that was in your family for a long time, that you may have thought of her like a grandmother figure, but she wasn't really your grandma, if that makes sense. I think grandma is also there, but I actually want to touch on this other lady. And this other lady, God love her, seemed to wear like little flower things in her hair. It was like also too, when she was younger, like a lot of ribbons and stuff in her hair. I'm actually getting the open hands from her reaching out. So if she's reaching out, what is she trying to show me? Okay, so I have to go back to that 12 or 13-year period that I was talking about. So before you went on this little merry-go-round of these 5 different things happening, just before that 12-year, because in between that 12 and 13-year, I don't want to, it's not that I don't want to, in between that 12 and 13 years ago, this lady is reaching out to sort of say, I couldn't do what I wanted to do. I just couldn't do it. Only you will understand that, because I'm not going to go into huge details on a live as such. You will understand what she meant. Whatever that scenario was, with her reaching out her hands, and if you are holding just a fraction of guilt from that, or a fraction of anger, please release that. There is absolutely no point hanging on to it. She was not directly part of your family, as much as you were able to talk to her, you were able to relate to her, but her hands, if you understand, like she's reaching out her hands of love, but at the same time, like virtually saying her hands are tied. Well, they were tied. Does that make sense? Do you understand where I'm going with that? Because if you get what that is, and I'm sure you will, that the repeat things that have happened in the years past it, it's almost like they're happening because you haven't released something from that time. And I'm very careful with my words because it is alive. So, Debbie, if you can relate to that, you will understand. So what you felt as a younger person, what you felt those years ago, please, if I can help you at some point with a healing program or whatever to release some of that, I'm happy to do so, because you may need like a one-on-one with me for that. Because once you release it, these similar patterns that have happened since then, they won't happen anymore, because it's like it's picking on, it's like you're triggered. And when you're feeling probably the most vulnerable, that something happens. And then a few months or even a year later, it happens again, and you think, oh, why is it repeating itself? And this is what I feel that her hands out. So if you want to take that as like a forgiveness sign as well, it can be taken in that way as well. But I have a saying, when I say from my heart to yours, but this is her heart now talking. And if it happens actually to be grandma, because she's come through like a grandma figure, but she's not giving me her name, so she's kind of staying a little bit silent because she's saying that you will understand. So I hope that helps you. But being stuck in certain ruts and whatever that you are, and you're feeling like, sometimes it's kind of, the saying is like, sometimes you feel like the walls are closing in. Well, then that sort of feeling will evaporate once you understand that somebody is, opening their heart and asking and for forgiveness, and hopefully a lot of that will change. But as I said, if you need to do a healing process, then we actually need to look at that, just so you get out of that, because sometimes it can be locked into your subconscious, and then your subconscious will just, grab it and grab it and grab it. And that's why the continuation of things go on. So I hope that makes a whole lot of sense to you. And yeah, just let me know how you go with that. Okay, so thank you for joining. It's lovely to see everybody here. Rachel, my love. Okay. You're in a bit of a bother too. Okay, Debbie, I get the repeating, but no, not the event. Okay, Debbie, if you can do me a favor, if it's not 12 or 13 years ago, then the only other thing it could be is when you were 12 or 13. So two different ways. That's the only way. When spirit brings that sort of information through, that is the only two things that it can mean. It either means that it happened 12 or 13 years ago, or when you were 12 to 13. So have another think about that. And if not, I might have to siphon it out a bit later. Okay. Rach. Bother is an understatement. Yeah, it's more than an understatement. You are in a pickle. My goodness, you're in such a pickle. Okay. Okay, Debbie, so you understand now. So it was actually the age rather than the years, and if it's trauma based, then we possibly need to work on that. Yeah. And I'm sending you my love. Okay, because I feel that one with my heart. Okay, Rachel. The university part I'm going to touch on first, and the university part I'm actually going to say to you, you're probably not going to hear now for another few months, because kind of everything's been turned inside out. I think she was talking about a different Rachel. Okay, we're having intermingle conversations throughout the feed. This one's for Rara. Yeah, it's almost like things are kind of, I don't think things have come to a standstill with it. What I want to say there is, I think that there's been so much turmoil within the university walls, that I don't think you're going to get an answer anytime soon. I do see that you're definitely going to get there, though. I just don't think it's going to be as soon as what you anticipated. So I think you still have a little bit of time there. So actually, what I want to say to you was that I'm actually not getting the feeling that you're even going to hear for another 4. So I'm hearing like another 4 months, and I would have thought you would have heard a lot sooner than that. I think you would have as well, and that's probably half the anxiety that's fueling you. That you're kind of going, do you know what? Why haven't I heard? Aren't I good enough? And I actually want to say to you that part of that has actually got into your subconscious, and I do believe. Sorry, but I know you're overwhelmed. I do believe that part of your subconscious is now trying to convince yourself that you actually aren't good enough and that you aren't going to get in. So I think that's fueled some of this total, like it's almost like my head's in a like it's almost like I want to get out of my own head because I've kind of taken on board your turmoil, and it's kind of like, oh my God, like it's like you've got 25 things going on in your head. It's like, get all this stuff out of my head. I shouldn't be laughing because there's just so much, but when you've got so much going on like that, can I please teach you a little trick? And if this helps anybody else, it's okay. When you've got so much going on in your head, especially if they're decisions or problems or issues, if you've got, I'm just going to pluck the number 10. If you've got 10 things going on in life, Rachel, this is so relevant to you and this is directed at you, but if it helps anybody else, that's fine. If you've got 10 things, because there's a little bit of pain that goes with it, the kind of a little bit of hypno, get out, Mystique. Yeah, I know. Anyway, Rach, what you got to do is you've got to sit quietly. I know it's hard for you, but with all that going on in your head, you've actually got to say to yourself and pinch your forehead, literally pinch it and pull out problem number 1 or issue number 1, whatever you want to call it, right? And then pull out number 2. And when you're pulling them out, you're pulling them out separately, and you're actually saying to yourself, number 1, I'm taking it out and I'm parking you. So you park it. You pull out number 2, and then you park number 2. And you pull out number 3, and you park number 3. Now, if you've got 10, if you've got more, doesn't matter. When you've got all of them out, you can then choose. You can only park them for 24 hours, by the way. After 24 hours, they'll all come gushing back together if you haven't dealt with it. What you do, though, is you go, and you kind of think, they don't have to be done in order. You can say to yourself, do you know what? I want to have a look at number 6. Then you grab the imaginary number 6 out here and you say, I'm putting it back. I'm taking you out of park and I'm putting you back. Again, you pinch your forehead, because when you get that little pinch and it hurts a bit, you actually think you're doing it. So what that does, it convinces your subconscious that you're in control, okay? So you put it back and you say, I'm dealing with number 6. And then that makes you only look at the problem number 6 and address number 6, and everything else is parked. And now they're all separate. So when they're separate, they're not as controlling, they're not as overwhelming, they're not as bad as when you can look at them separately. And the only way you can look at them separately is if you do pull them out and park them. And I use the word park, okay? So if I've got somebody, like a client with me, and we're doing it together, I will pinch their skin and I'll take it out and park it, okay? You have to have that sensation, because it overrides that busyness that the subconscious is making you freaked out or overwhelmed with, yeah? So that all helps. When you're overwhelmed with so much going on, even if they're not issues, even if they're all good things, it doesn't matter. The minute that your brain becomes overwhelmed with too much going on, please sit down for 10 minutes and pull them out and park them and put them back one at a time when you want to. They don't have to be in order. As I said, put back number 2, put back number 4. It doesn't matter. Melissa, no, you haven't missed it. Put them back in the way you choose to put them back, not necessarily in order. But as I said, don't leave them parked for more than 24 hours. They'll all come back and flood you, okay? If anything else happens in that time where you've still got a few parked, if something else happens, immediately sit down and pull it out and park it, because you've pulled out the rest sooner. Yeah, does that make sense? So, Rach, what I feel with you is when you start to do that, you won't feel so overwhelmed. You won't feel like, that everything's on top of you. You actually won't feel that, that you can't deal. That's the word I want to use, because it was like Spirit was throwing at me. She can't deal with all this. And I need to say to you, yes, you can deal with it all, but please park them and deal with them one at a time. The old way, years ago, the old way was writing them all down and choosing which one you wanted to deal with. But half the world decided to go, do you know what? I've dealt with one or two. I'm right now. See you later. Because they didn't have the patience. When it's all up here and your mind can't get free of all the busyness, the only way to do it is physically think that you're pulling them out of your head. If I can help anyone tonight, if you just take on board that in any scenario in your life, I trust it with my life because it works. I do it on people myself. I have done for years, and I've never not had a success with it. So, the camera can't see all my, is it that way? Like, I won awards for things that I do, I've been doing this sort of stuff, 40 years plus. Some people may not want to teach people that, but it works, and I don't care if someone tells me it sounds bizarre. Certain things that work and work well, doesn't matter how bizarre they sound, as long as it's not hurting you. I mean, when you pinch yourself, it hurts a little bit, but that's just to override your subconscious, yeah? So, Rachel, part of all that, it's going to help you a lot, and it's going to help you take that negativity that you've kind of put on yourself about, waiting for the university stuff. So I think they actually go hand in hand, but and I say everything with the greatest respect, but it's almost like when they go hand in hand, it's become bigger than Ben-Hur. So at the end of the day, when you smooth it all out and get some of that, when I say rubbish, I don't mean that the scenarios are rubbish, but you kind of say it in a way when you get all that rubbish out of your head and deal with it one at a time, it actually doesn't feel so bad, and you'll actually lighten up a little bit, because what I want to say to you is that some people in your life you've been a bit short with, but that's just because so much is going on, yeah? You will overcome that as well, but yeah, it's all about feeding you the right things, feeding you things where you can kind of sit down and be in control, because when the subconscious takes on too much, the subconscious will only ever pick up the negativity, and that's when we end up having an issue. So yes, I hope all that helps, and I hope it all makes sense. And yeah, you can run something by me later if you wish. Okay, next I have, okay, it's come through. Melissa, I think this is you, isn't it? The youthful mama. Yeah, I like that. Melissa, darling, is that you? Melissa? Is that you, my sweet? I hope it's you. I'm waiting for you to tell me that it is, because it hasn't got another name on it. Brilliant. I thought it was. Perfect. Just letting people know, after Melissa, I have Chloe. Chloe will be after Melissa, and that's Melissa Dennis. And then Melissa Brown, you'll be after Chloe. Just so everybody is clear on that. Alrighty. Melissa. Oh, you're a darling. Can you let me know what your question is, please? Because I think by now it's all scrolled past and I can't get back to it. So if you can let me know what your question is, that would be awesome. Oh, okay. So is that the reason why you've been really out of whack for the last 4 weeks? First thing I heard was 4. So I want to touch on the last 4 weeks. Has that been quite and I put your business to the side for a sec. I just want to say, like, in your everyday life, has your eating habits, has your tummy swirled, has like when you eat things that you can normally eat, have you felt not right? Like, have you felt a little bit ill after you've eaten certain things? You've had tonsillitis. No, I'm not. Okay, I'm sorry that you did, but that's not what I'm feeling. It's more like the lower tummy area. Is that possibly why you're thinking? Um, okay, now I have two spirits in my head saying two completely different things, which is just so wonderful when they do that. And I'm trying to focus on one and shut the other one out because one seems to have more information than the other. And I also have my dad in there as well, so it's kind of like a whirlwind in my head right now. And I have to come back from. Okay, I know that you're not trying as such. There wasn't I wasn't hearing that you were trying and waiting to find out, that way, whether that your efforts were going the wrong way, if that's the best way of saying it. What I was hearing was that sometimes the disconnection with what your body's doing can make you think certain things. So I was kind of that's where I was kind of thrown to in the beginning, and I was thrown to the lower tummy area. Excuse me, which was feeling a little bit awkward at the moment. So if you are on medication with the tonsillitis, that could equate to the tummy thing that I was feeling. But at the end of the day, I don't believe that this year or even halfway through next year that that is going to happen. I don't believe that it's in the. I don't believe it's like it's in the direct up and coming. What I want to say to you is, okay, spirit, keep going back to the four. I keep going back four. So, and I don't know how weird this sounds to you if I said to you that this is 4 years away. But in saying that, that's 4 years away until you have bubs in your arms. So let's look at the better number of 3. Okay. So it's more about the whole, like the program as a whole. I don't know why I call it a program then, but that's what the Spirit's calling it in my ear. So the program as a whole, it's like it's a 4-year event. I love some of the words Spirit used. I think that's just insane. But I don't care what your age is right now. It's almost like you're not ready for one now. And I say that with the greatest respect. Your life has gone a different path where you're actually not ready. If you were pregnant now or next week or in the next, even next year, everything that you've been working so hard on to put together, is just going to go by the wayside. The spirits that I have in my head is one is my dad, one is my grandmother, and one is an older gentleman with a beard who keeps trying to go like this with his beard. And I actually don't know who he is. I don't know if he's relevant to you. He's not bringing himself forward to say that he's for you, okay? But, yeah, it's a gentleman that keeps going like this with his beard, and he's obviously popped in because my gateway is open. But yeah, he's not presenting himself that he's for you. So that's why I didn't sort of say, who he was. But my dad and my nan my nan's the gentle one. My dad is the one that kind of just blurts things out, and he virtually says, this hard yards that you've done and the hard yards that you're doing is just like I don't want to upset you by saying if you wanted to be pregnant, early next year, everything kind of gets put on hold that you've worked damn hard for. And that's just, oh, to me, that's just like, oh my God. And I know, look, everybody else is trying to fall pregnant. I've got nothing against babies. Trust me, like, people would leave their babies with me. I love babies. They're just so beautiful. And it's a new, it's a new presentation to the universe as such. They're something to, flock over and embrace and all that sort of stuff. So I'm not against babies, but I just feel that the whole thing is like 4 years. But we're in July now, going into August, and if that 4-year period is released like back to 3, because 9 months of being pregnant, well then, it's actually not that far away, to be quite honest, because it can be early in the year. It doesn't have to be at the end of the year. Do you know what I mean? So there's things that are taking, with all due respect, there's things in your life that are taking preference right now, only because so what I'm afraid of, I need the baby to wait. I love babies too, but not ready yet, thank goodness. Yeah. There's things that you need to achieve and conquer first, if that makes sense. As I said, that's no disrespect to anyone that's wanting a bubs right now, but you're in the prime of your life where you've put something together, and that needs to flourish. That needs to be embraced by others. That needs so much attention. That that's your baby right now. That is your dream. This is something that you've been waiting for. Make that happen. Like, conquer that one first. And if you embrace that sort of thing for a couple of years, it's only then when that can be, where it's so functionable that you can take a step back, you can still oversee it, but you can have someone else in there kind of, doing all the hard yards while you're sitting back, heavily pregnant and having bubs. Does that make sense? So all those sorts of things, allow all that to happen. Allow it, because the universe is like embracing you, saying, this is your baby now. And your baby is just waiting to be explored. Okay. It's waiting for the adventure. It's waiting to come out. Okay. I love my dad and my nan for saying it the way they do, because, it's a wonderful way to be told. Do you know what I mean? It's beautiful that they, the universe wants to embrace what you want to offer, what you want to put together, what you want to, show the world, your baby. This is your opportunity. This is your chance. And I believe it will be very, very successful. So go with that, my love. Go with that, my love. So if it all makes sense, yeah, I take after my nan. No, not really. My nan wouldn't do this, My dad is he's a bit funny. Quick story. My dad actually never believed when I was a child. My dad actually injured me quite a lot, numerous times, because he thought I was possessed by the devil. He just didn't believe. And now he's one of my main spirit guides. So I just think it's quite bizarre. The powers of be. The powers of be. But it's all good. Okay. Chloe, you're next. Chloe, you still here? I have young Chloe. I like saying that. Young Chloe. Would love a career reading on current job. Jean, your daughter's not going to wait. She's not going to wait 4 years. Melissa, I know. Isn't it weird? We've got something on, got something in common there. Our dads didn't believe. Jordan, I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for joining. Lovely to see you. Okay, Chloe, you want to know about career on your current job? My goodness. Why does everything start off as a bit of bad news before it gets to good news? And I'm always getting shown a little bit of the short side before I get the good side, which is, quite extraordinary. But Chloe, I actually want to go down your path now. I want to travel down your path and want to say to you that you, and with respect, And I always start off readings this way because I have no judgment on anybody, and I have the utmost respect in what I say. Okay, where you are right now, do you feel like you're being overlooked for something? Do you feel that when you go in there that or you maybe not going in there right now, but I sense that, you know, that surroundings that you almost feel like you don't want to go in. It's I get the feeling that there's somebody there that isn't on your side. There's somebody there that's well, I hate to tell you first up, but I feel there's somebody there with a knife and just loves putting it in your back. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. I don't like that at all. However, that person, oh, I shouldn't laugh. Sorry, I shouldn't do that. That person actually won't be there for much longer. So that's the good part out of that. But I do believe that things haven't been 100% right for a while. I believe that things have been tough, and I feel that you've got the feeling that you're actually not respected for what you actually bring forward. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but they're the sensations that I'm getting. Now, I actually want to say to you, probably about a year ago, that okay. So, if you're saying that, then are you taking on board? Then are you not got your barriers up when you're talking with kids? If you're dealing with that sort of work and they're bouncing things off you, are you bringing that home? Because if that's the energy I'm picking up on, you're taking that into your heart. Now, I know some stories can be very uh, okay, but if you're not taking their stories or anything to heart, why is spirit picking up on that energy? So are you doing that unintentionally? Okay, because yeah, it just, if that's the feeling that I'm getting, there's something going on there where that lack of respect, that lack of somebody, like, you know, somebody that has a knife into you, like who is your, have you got co-workers that maybe you're doing a better job than what they are? I want to kind of move away from the kids that you're working with as such. I just want to focus on you. Is there somebody there that's not giving you 100% of their time and you're trying to give them 100% of yours? I only bring through what I get told and what I get shown. Okay. The good part of it all, though, is that I want to put that to the side for a second, is that you're going to, without that person that I'm being shown with the other scenario, I have to look at 5. So I'm going 5 months away from here, where there's something in the limelight that you're going to be approached for you to take on. Now, whether that's a task, an extra task, or whether that's something that you, whether it's a whole new, like an advancement to what you're already doing right now. Okay, spirit is showing me books and procedures. So I want to say to you, that's something new. That's something new that you've got to learn to be able to present. Okay. I'm very new, so I'm not well trained yet, and I'm struggling to find help. Okay. All right. No, I actually get shown within 5 months. There's something else that they're going to give you. There's something else that they're going to train you in. So whether, like if you're only recently new now, whether they see something in you in the next couple of months, like they see a particular part of you where they kind of go, do you know what, we actually like that little bit. We like her understanding. We like her, you know, her knowledge on something. We like the intelligence on that. We're going to give her something else to learn to be able to present that. Do you actually, if you don't, it's coming. Do you actually present things? Do you teach? Do you present? Because they're actually showing me that you're going to be presenting something. So whether that's, as I said, whether that's a new program, or whether it's just something new that you have to do, like a classroom setup, because I see you presenting. So to me, you know, I'm kind of like, if they're willing to teach you and to train you into an area where they think that you're good at, they're watching you, they're seeing something in you. So maybe the person that's kind of a little bit envious that has the knife, maybe that person is testing you, because they're probably not probably, it's almost like, then if that's the case, they will test you out to see how you handle scenarios, to be able to be put into like a higher position to present, and to kind of when I say throw your weight around, I mean that in a way of, like, throwing your voice around, and again, not being a smart ass. It's like, I'm up here on a pedestal and I've got a book in front of me and I'm teaching and I'm trying to teach you something, and you've got, like, people in front of you, and the people in front of you, sure, they've been through a rough life, and half of them don't want to learn, and half of them just want to, blow the whole thing away and think, oh, well, we're here. But it's you have a way of doing things, and when you have a certain way of doing things, people take notice, and that's what I see. So when people are taking notice in you, they're watching you and they're getting something ready for you, and I think that's very, very exciting, because because to me, if you haven't been there that long and they've already kind of pinpointed you for certain things, then I feel that's a good thing. So I have to have some water. I don't normally do that, but now I've just got a tickle in my throat and I don't want it to get any worse. So I'm actually excited that, they've already plucked you out, so to speak, to be able to choose you, is what I want to say. Choose you for something that I feel that's really, really important. So you're already going to be going up the ladder. So if you have any qualms in the next few months where you're thinking that's not quite right for you, what I want to say is, can you please hang on? Because I want you to witness, I want you to go through this next phase. Because when you do, things are going to be so much better, and you're going to have, what comes with extra responsibility also comes with extra money, but it's going to be something that you're going to enjoy. And when people enjoy what they do, and when people have a passion for what they do, the sky's the limit. Do you know what I mean? So I just feel that there's been some issues, but if you're in the learning phase, everything can feel like an issue, and you can, you can also get that overwhelmed feeling. But then at the end of the day, can I please ask you to just, follow that through and stay there and start to feel comfortable. And then when you're given this other opportunity, embrace it for what it is, because it's really, really exciting. And when I see you up there and you're conducting this, the talk and to all these people, you have a newfound confidence. And when you have that newfound confidence in yourself, you just shined. Because when you're a little bit shy, or when you don't know something to 100%, you back away. And when you back away, you start to doubt yourself, and then you lose confidence. This is going to give you so much confidence to be able to stand there and present. Massive opportunity. So please hang in there. Enjoy the little ride that you'll go on, but enjoy the bigger ride when it's offered to you, because I think that's just going to be absolutely fabulous. So thank you for asking the question, and thank you for joining tonight. Okay, Melissa Brown, you're up. Melissa Brown, if you can let me know again what your question is, that would be awesome. After Melissa, I have no, Jackie, I've got you. What I'm doing, Jackie, just so you know, I'm reading people in the order that they've paid. So I've got Melissa Brown next. Then I've got Miss Parker. I've got Kim, Jacqueline, then I've got you. So that's how it's running. Oh, you're welcome, Chloe. That's all good. So I have Melissa Brown. There's somewhere in here. And then I have Tique Parker. I have you after Melissa. I think this is your question, actually. I've been having a few people, including myself, having my future children reach out to them. I feel so close to them right now. Do you see them coming earth side anytime soon? Also, if there are any other messages from Spirit, love to hear. Okay. Melissa, was that your question? Okay, here you are again. Lee Breach, am I on there? No, I just did Chloe, and then I've got Melissa Brown. I've got Miss Parker. Then I've got Kim, and then I've got Jacqueline. So, Melissa, back to you. I have had my future children around me so often lately, even in dreams. Do you see them coming earthside anytime soon? So what is, have you got, oh, I'm going to throw this out there. Do you have any twins in the family? Just saying. I think in your, Mel, I think in your dreams you've seen quite a, well, when I say quite a few, I think you see more than actually what you would actually have in real life, if that makes sense. So I think that you feel in your dreams and what you see possibly being shown to you from Spirit in passing, probably 3 or 4, but I get twins. Okay, my dad was, but his twin passed at birth. Doesn't matter. Is there anybody else that has twins, or just your dad? Because I mean that is stronger. It's normally when it's on your mum's side that will be more of a chance. Yet Spirit keeps showing me too, and they're showing me too that excuse me. They keep showing me too. Lee, it's running on the bottom of the screen. It'll come up if you just watch that thing goes past on the bottom of the screen. Mel, it normally is more, how do I say this? More of an easier event if it runs on the female side of the family. But if dad did, and if there's more, then that's a stronger gene anyway. And it's the stronger gene that I need to actually feel, because when Spirit shows it to me, because I see 2 babies the exact same size, then I have to, that's why I'm saying twins, because I get shown them that they're so, when Spirit shows me, 2 different ages, or 2 different heights, or whatever the case may be, I could normally pass them off as being separate, but I'm seeing them, virtually 2 at the exact same size. So I still want to go with my twins, but I also want to say to you that, wow, okay. Why do I get thrown such information, Mel? I need to, with all. Oh, you've seen twins in your dream, fantastic. With all the greatest respect and with love, something happens before you get the 2. Best way I can say it, my love. But it will happen for a reason, and the universe normally does it for a very good reason, and then you will have your 2. Does that make sense? I'm sure I don't have to say too much more on that. And when you're embraced with the 2, it's not that you'll forget anything else that's gone on in your life. It's just that you'll be, it's almost like you get so much joy out of seeing a vision that you've already seen, today, last week, a year ago. You see that dream come to fruition. You see it with your own eyes, and that's the beauty of being, giving birth to something that you've actually, seen in a dream. You kind of sit there and go, oh my God, I envisaged this. Did I manifest this? Did I bring this on? Do you know what I mean? And that's when you thank yourself, and even start doing that now. Thank yourself for being able, or being aware enough to be able to see it. Thank yourself, and even thank your body for even wanting two. You know, thank a lot of things to embrace and to engage those two. Yeah. So the little bit of the thing that I see happening beforehand, of course, is not so pleasant. But please know that everything will be okay, and it's not that far after that you get the news of the two. Okay, but I'm excited, and I can just I'm rubbing my hands together as I'm I'm like this, rubbing my hands together because I just I just feel that, and I can virtually see you with one in each arm, and partner, like embracing, and there's photographs. I don't know why you'd have so many people around you taking photographs very soon after the occasion, but there seems to be there's a lot of happiness. It's not just yours and partners. There is so much happiness, and so I think that you've been waiting for this for a while, or you've been wanting this for a while, that the happiness is just all going to come to fruition, and it's just a lovely manner in which which does. So as I said, there is just that little hurdle beforehand, but everything will be totally fine. And I want to. Okay, I'm also getting shown zinc. Do you have a low zinc thing at the moment? If so, can you please kind of have a look at that and maybe get that sorted? It seems to be like a spirit to showing me that zinc. There's an issue with zinc. You're a bit low on that. Magnesium is not so bad, but I also believe that there's some copper in your system as well. And the zinc zinc and magnesium will decrease the copper. But the copper is a little bit high at present. So I don't know if you've had that checked out, but if you want to do that, that would be good. Does it seem far away? We have been trying for a while. Okay. It doesn't seem too far off to me, but as I said, there's a little hurdle before it. Yes, please do. If you can get that checked, that'd be good. Some doctors don't automatically check those limits, so if you can ask to have them checked. But I am looking at the zinc, but I need to have magnesium and zinc checked, just so it can override the copper, because I'm hearing that the copper's a bit too high. And the copper alone being high won't stop you getting pregnant. But what I want to say to you, again, with all due respect, when you're wanting and you're trying and you're really trying, you're stressing yourself out so much that internally, Lee, I have it now, internally everything is, all your muscles are too tense. It's like, if we watch TV like this or go to bed like this, we're going to wake up with a crook neck, yeah? And so you just need to kind of, it sounds awful for me to say, you need to stop thinking about it, because everything is tense now, because you're just, it's like you're on a mission. And when you're on a mission, it actually doesn't happen. And the more you try, because it doesn't happen, the worse you actually get. Because internal muscles, internal nerve endings and all that sort of stuff, that they get very, very tight as well. When you tense up inside your body, a lot of things kind of don't work properly. So I need you to be very, really, really aware of that, because the more you're saying you want, and the more you're saying, oh, we need to try, or we're trying to work by calendar, or we're trying to do this, it's too much. Probably with my age, it's easy to say, throw all that out the window and forget about it, and just come back to being as natural as you can be, because too much emphasis has gone on it, unfortunately. Sorry. But when the body's tense, the body won't accept what it's supposed to do, yeah? And that will create, I don't want to get too involved, but it will stop things getting to the right area, because the muscles will be too tense. They won't allow it to go any further, and therefore it's useless. Sorry, that sounded really cruel, but that's the best way I can say it. So I know that sounds bad, but when we've got tight muscles in our wrist, we don't want to write with a pen, we don't want to type, all that sort of stuff. We want to rest it, and then it goes all back to normal, and it's just inflammation. Do you know what I mean? It just, it's. I love the way you put it. I didn't want to just blurt out certain things, Mel. I had to be a little bit creative with that, not make it sound so bad. But you understand what I mean. And if you can visualize that, it's like we visualize putting up a wall in front of us when we don't want to take on board other people's crap. It's kind of the same thing because we just stress so much that those walls get tighter and nothing gets through. And therefore we can't fall pregnant. So throw out all the other hoo-ha and just concentrate on having fun and you know, you're laughing at me. Everyone's probably laughing at me now thinking, oh, she's a sex therapist too, but she's not talking. But this is a live. Like, I'm not going to. If I was having a sex therapy, you know, conversation with with someone who couldn't fall pregnant, I'd be a lot clearer in what I was saying. But we're on a live, so I can't do that. So I'm trying to do it in the best possible way with respect. But you get the concept, yeah? So I want you, it sounds even worse now because I'm going to say, I want you to now have fun with all that. Because it's got to come back to the fun side of life and the fun times. People are so much more experimental and fun loving and doing it for longer or spontaneous or whatever when they don't have an agenda around it. Kerry, thank you, Kerry. Mel, practice makes perfect. But you know what I mean? This is just, you know, where I have to go with it because, you know, you're not going to tell the world, but if you're tense and you're, you know, saying, oh, this could be the night, then, you know, then it's all rigid. Sorry. It's like you're regimentated and then it doesn't work and then you get stressed and then you get angry and then, oh, you know, stop all that. That's awesome advice. We have started to focus on it. Thank you. That's what I want. Because when you just go back to normality and it's not so much of a we have to do it now and this book says this and this says that, it takes out all the fun. It takes out all the romance. It takes out everything and you kind of lose all that fun. You lose how very intimate you can actually get with one another. You know, it's a very special time. And, you know, if people have sex that's so regimentated, do you actually feel loved and treasured and all that sort of stuff? I say probably not, because there's an agenda behind it. Just saying. I hope that helps, my love, and I hope everybody else has enjoyed that conversation as well. But, you know, that was your question, Mel, but and it was for you, but if anyone else got anything out of it, that's great. But you know where I'm going with it, and you understand that, you know, life is precious, and to bring another life into the world is also very, very precious. And it's a really special time, you know. And you know, that's where I want to go with that. So I wish you well, and I wish you some relaxing time and some fun. Because it's good. Okay. Who's next? Oh, that would be Miss Parker, who's been waiting patiently. Yeah, Mel. Look, it's nice of you to say thank you, but you know, I'm looking forward to your little family too, and I hope that you will let me know because I'd like to be a little bit of a part of that. Oh, that didn't sound very good, but you know what I mean. Okay. Dad passed away 34 years ago yesterday. Wow. Is there a message from him? If not, just interested to know if there will be a permanent improvement in finances. Okay, I just lost that for a minute. In the near future. Also love how you say Miss Parker. it's like I'm a child at school, isn't it? Miss Parker. That's all good, Miss Parker. Now, 34 years ago, wow, that's a long time. Have you actually felt him around you of late? Actually, the first thing I'm being drawn to is like a brown box, and I believe that's wood. I believe there's a brown wooden box somewhere. I don't know how much inside it is his, but I believe there's something important of yours in there. So you might be keeping something that's good. You might be not wanting to display something because you think it should be inside a box. But I am being drawn to like a brown wooden box. And I want to say, I don't know if it's all over, but I also see some little carvings on it as well. I'll just wait till Miss Parker tells me about that. Kim, you're next. Jacqueline, you're next after Kim, and then Lee Bridge, you're after that. Just so I can let people know. Yes, box has pics of him and family on outside. I keep my pendulum at, that makes sense. Okay. Has the box got carvings on it as well? I don't know whether you heard that part or not. But yeah, I feel if it it's funny how it's the first thing that he takes me to. And you keep your, because I knew it wasn't all about him. Okay. So I know 34 years is a long time ago. Probably doesn't seem like that long ago to you because he's your dad. But when he was in this realm, so much of a character. And I want to say to you, the high energy that he has, that high energy, do you find, because most of us that work with crystals will actually say don't keep them in a box, but are you finding your crystals and your pendulum energized? Because I want to say to you, just even with him, the energy that he had when he was alive, and I want to even say sometimes like a firecracker, but he has this way about him that he ignites certain things. So I actually want to say that his energy is what I'm drawn to, with what's empowering your crystals and your pendulum in that box. Because generally, if your box next to it has carvings on it, I speak to him regularly when I'm driving. Yes, he was a big character. Well, like, you shouldn't be speaking into anyone when you're driving. You should be concentrating. But that's for you. So we all that work with crystals, like put them out in the sun and all that sort of stuff, or out in the new moon and whatever, but you keep them inside a box. So he's igniting the energy in those crystals for you. When you get them out and even hold one in particular, I think you've got selenite in there and a piece of citrine. I know there's more, but the citrine, I want to say, is really powered. Where is that citrine piece? I kind of go, wow. Yeah, the citrine is really getting to me, actually. Either or, it doesn't really matter. But he's more than with you when you're driving. He's with you. Yeah, spot on. It's in the box. Got it from Eileen. Oh, there you go. Wonder why it's been drawn to me then. Because we all know the citrine is all about abundance, but people used to think for years that it was just about money, but abundance is so much more than money. But I want to say to you that, it's I almost feel like he sits with you at dinner every night. So whether that's because he couldn't cook as well as what you do, which is something that I just thought was quite weird that he said then, or whether he left a recipe behind, or someone has given you a recipe of something that he used to enjoy eating, or either or, it doesn't really matter. But I feel that he's virtually with you every day when you eat. And that's really weird for someone to say, but it's almost like that. Well, that's what he's showing me. But every time you go to that box also too, it's almost like when you go to grab the crystals out, are they warm? Especially that citrine. Like, are they already warm? Okay. Maybe that's why he's with you. Maybe he's brushing off the spices. I don't know, but he just said that he enjoys your food. So I don't know what that's about, because I don't know how old you are, but I don't think you would have been cooking when he was here. But yeah, I don't know. He just said something about your cooking. But yeah, do you, when you get your crystals out though, do you get that instant energy in your face type thing? Because I feel the power of that when you kind of like, get them out. And that's what I want to say to you about him being around you every day. It's almost like you don't need the full moon, you don't need the new moon, you don't need the sun to put all the energy back into those crystals. It's like he's igniting them all the time, which I think is absolutely beautiful. Okay. Okay, so if from tonight onwards, if you can actually try, well, see, yeah, you're 14 when you died. See, I didn't think that you're cooking at that age, so that's why I said no. It's probably not that. Um, just feel the crystals. Okay, okay. His energy is it. Yeah, I wish I had that around my hundreds of bloody crystals. Dad, what are you doing now? I'm getting shown. Other people are showing you up, Dad, because you're not energizing my crystals. That's me just having a bit of a dig at my own dad. I don't know what it is that you're trying to achieve in the next few months. I don't know if you've started something, whether it's because it's got something to do with study, whether you want to enhance what you already have, or you're putting your finger into something else. You need to, and with respect, you need to have more focus on it. I believe it's a little bit flippant. It's a little bit, I'll do it here, I'll do it there, I'll do it when I get time. You need to focus on it. Sorry, it's almost like you went in for something that was really good, and now you're kind of thinking, oh, why do I need to do that? Why do I really, why am I really bothering? I just, you're not 100% in it. Okay, you need to get back to the right thing. If I wanted to say to you that, because Dad was a bit of a reader in his time, Dad was a bit of a what did he do where he had to have so many papers out on a desk? He just showed me a desk with all these papers, all these scattered papers, as if to kind of say, I need to fix all my papers before I go anywhere. So that's kind of what he's showing me. So there's something around that as well. As there's something that's little bit out of control. There's something that you need to pull yourself back in a bit tighter, because the minute you pull yourself in a bit tighter, things will work properly for you. Things will start being put back into place. I don't mean that you want to be so regimented, but you just need to realign your focus again, because, and I know it's hard. Well, I mean, COVID is ticking everybody off, and lockdown is ticking everybody off, and we've all been through it. We're all going to go through it again, all that sort of hoo-ha. But pull back on other things so you can have some time for you to get into aiming to write an hour a day, been neglecting my writing, my desk is a mess of papers. There you go. So it wasn't actually him then around that desk. Well, he probably is. He's probably annoyed that it's so messy. Instead of, if you focus on writing, you're embracing that creative child that wants to get out and speak. When a lot of children these days, when they want to speak, they just blurt things out. They don't have any filter. As adults, we have a filter. But when we get kind of stuck with everything else, we go back to writing, and then we're stuck. We don't know what to write about. We've got foggy brains. We've got all sorts of things, and it doesn't flow. So because it doesn't flow, we give up and walk away from it again. So come back to having some quiet time and focusing on, and whether you'll sit quietly to meditate or manifest, to put your mind back into part of that book and become part of the book yourself. So mentally you're already in that book and living it, so you can go to writing it. Yeah? Does that make sense? That's what you need to do there. There is so much in that book that's going to bring so much joy, a little bit of pain, but so much joy for others. It's been an experience, but don't go off the beaten track. Come back to being focused and putting your energies into that, because your energy's a bit scattered. They're all kind of being thrown around doing different things for other people. Sorry. And I know that you do that normally, because I do that myself, but I also know when to pull it back when I need to do things for me. Yeah. So that's what you need to do. Yep. So then tidy up that desk. Maybe there's some ideas that's thrown on a bit of paper somewhere in there that you can go back to. And maybe, okay, it's my story. I'm at the bit where he dies. Okay. Writing it in my childhood perspective. Okay. That's why you're blocked. And if I can say this with the greatest respect, it is 34 years. It was tough, very, very tough, because you were so young. To get it up and out is a healing process on its own. Even if you, if I can offer you some advice here, this is not from Dad, this is from me. If you scribble down some events leading up to that, of how you felt or how you feel about it now, and scribble, and don't think about the book, but just write with your heart, do it till you stop writing, put it aside, come back to it in a couple of days, and pick the things out of it. You'll be surprised what you've actually written, because you won't actually remember it, because when your heart speaks, you just write and write and write. And then you're able to then pull out a bit of it and have it in the book. Okay? If I can get you to do that, you'll be very, very surprised at what you come up with, and that will just stop that block, because it will just flow. Yeah? So I hope all that helps you. And thank you for your patience in waiting. And yeah, thank you for joining. Kim, my darling. Well, everyone's been waiting a long time tonight. Kim Hannell, if you can let me know what your question is. My goodness, everyone's been waiting for so long. After Kim, I have Jacqueline. And after Jacqueline, I have Lee. And then after Lee, I have Jordan. And that will probably take us out for over the 2 hours then. So Kim, darling, if you can, okay, here she is. I had a dream the other night about my dad, who passed away last December. I'm sorry to hear that. And I believe he was trying to tell me something. Do you know what this message is? Before I even try and tap into him, my love, I know what part of it will be. I think my dad's actually having a chat to him. A weird thing to hear in my ear. Jackie O'Sullivan. No, after Kim Hannell, I have Jacqueline Hallam. I have Jacqueline Hallam, Lee Bridge, and Jordan Fairburn. I don't have a Jacqueline O'Sullivan in my PayPal. Sorry, love. Okay, Kim. With the utmost respect, if I say the words to you, it's about time. You've sat back. I don't want to put a negative on this. That's the only thing that the way I say it sounds like I'm putting a negative on it, but I'm actually not. You've sat on a few things for too long thinking that they were your passion, because you are very passionate about certain things, and it took either, okay, he's telling me it took a shock to the system. I say it took a bit of a kick up the bum, but he's saying a shock to the system that made you create what you do today. This has been something that probably should have been done earlier than it was, but that doesn't matter. That's what I mean. That part sounds negative. I really don't want it to sound negative, because we're in the here and we're in the now, and it's going extremely well. Okay, you I don't want to overwhelm you either when I kind of say in the next couple of months you'll be tripling and double tripling. I don't even think that's a word. Even tripling what you're doing today. Okay, there is a numerous amount of respect for what you're trying to achieve, but it's not about trying to achieve anymore. You have achieved what you're very, very passionate about. It just took you a long time to work out what it was. And there's many, many people that are so grateful for now what you're doing. Okay. The one when he come through and said you needed, so I don't know, because my dad said you just needed to kick up the backside, and you got that, and hence you went forward. He's saying, your dad is actually saying, but something happened to make you go down that path. So whichever, I don't know, I don't know whether you want to elaborate on that. If it's something too personal, then it doesn't really matter as such. But either way, it's brought. I'm like, I know you have a great personality, but it's like it's brought you back to life. It's brought you back to the word I see in front of me. It's like it's brought you back to an arena. It's brought you back to getting up and like jumping out of bed every day to go, do you know what? I've got to do this, I've got to do this, I've got to do this. And it's not that you're stressing about not having enough hours in the day. It's like you're in your prime. Does that make sense? You being in your prime. I mean, you're a bit of a pocket rocket when I met you a few years ago, and you're kind of on the go back then as well. But, you know, and I haven't crossed paths with you since, unfortunately. You know, we kind of live on opposite sides, but it's brought you back to even being a younger version of you, if that makes sense. You know, your heart and your soul are in this, and he's kind of with you all the way to sort of say, my baby is doing it. My baby is doing what she loves. But I still feel that you went through to me, I get you went through a bit of a hard knock to get to doing it, if that makes sense. And I just kind of feel that there was people around you through that hard knock that kind of stopped you from, if I can say it this way, into falling deeper. But yeah, my heart is kind of pounding now, thinking that you went through something a bit tough to enable you to focus on a different arena, as I keep calling it, arena, to do what you're doing today. So I hope all that makes sense. But with Dad, it's almost like Dad was always proud of you anyway, and I think you know that. I think when you were a child, you didn't believe it, but he certainly showed you, and he certainly said things along the way that made you believe. But he couldn't be more proud now. You know, you've done. I mean, I just want to say the words like you know, you've outdone yourself, and whether that's because the energy and the love that you put into doing what you're doing, it's to me, it's I don't know, it's just so fruitful. It's something that will expand, and I actually hope you have the area and the capacity to do so, because it's already, you know, you already have. When I say thousands, you know, it can be hundreds, but I hear it from a spirit as thousands. There's already been thousands of compliments. There's already been so much talk in areas that you go, that people are like spreading the word even more. And when people love what you do and they spread the word, that is the highest compliment you can be paid. Yeah. I'm also getting told to don't undersell. I know you've got a kind heart, and I know you might know a lot of people that benefit from what you're doing, but don't undersell, because you've got time, you've got labor, you've got ingredients, you've got ideas to come up with new things. You've got packaging, you've got all sorts of, you've got delivery, you've got all sorts of things. Make sure, and this is Dad's stern word, so maybe he was the stern one in the family. Make sure, because you love it so much, make sure you're not doing it too cheap, because when you get busier and busier, people may just start to really flock you because they can get a great thing for a cheaper price than the big shops, yeah? But then you may not be able to deliver. So you must keep true to the amount you're spending, to the amount of time you're putting in, to the amount of time it's taking you to get to the finished product to move it on. Okay? Because he's just saying, don't undersell it. A good product should never be undersold. You know, if you want to do, you know, at the end of the day, if you want to do a product of the month, if you want to do a, you know, gift packs or whatever at a cheaper price or whatnot for special occasions, that's okay. But your everyday money has got to equate to what you're putting into it, even though you're very passionate. Does all that make sense? And is Dad the one in the family? Is he the one that normally did everything by the book? Because he's just adamant in saying, don't undersell. I think I've heard it now 20 times. Don't undersell. Don't undersell. You know. So it's obviously an important message from him, trying to get it in my ear so many times, which I just think is quite lovely, because he's very, very endearing. Like, he's a nice bloke. He's not yelling at me, you know, in my ear, but he's just saying it so often, it's just crazy. So yeah, and just be mindful of burnout. Okay, yep, that was him. Okay, you know, I mean, I don't know his personality. I don't know him, but yeah, just be mindful though. Do the sums. Make sure you're not doing it too cheap. Make sure. Okay. Question that's just bounced in, and I've got a question for you. Have you trademarked? If you haven't trademarked, please do, because it will be so good that somebody will take. Please trademark it. And if you have, that just might be him confirming. But yeah, if you haven't, please look at trademark. Okay. Then please do. Okay. Because if you trademark, nobody can copy. And I think you've got a real winner, because he keeps telling me. That's why he's saying don't undersell. And if you trademark, nobody can copy at all, because it then becomes illegal for anyone to copy. You know, I didn't trademark my name in time for somebody else to open up something else in DY with the same name, and then I went and approached them. So, you know, you need to go do that, my love. Although they've gone broke. So maybe too many people went into their shop asking to see the psychic, but they didn't have the psychic there because I'm here. So more for them for copying, even in the same area where I am. So lesson learned, I'm trademarked. But he was just saying, okay. So he's very, very wise, but he's stern, but he's gentle. And I love that. Okay. So I hope that all helps you, Kim. And I really appreciate you jumping in tonight. It's been lovely. Okay, Jacqueline, we're up to you. I've got Jacqueline, Lee, and Jordan to go. So, Jacqueline, my love, if you can. Oh, no problem, Kim. Jacqueline, if you can let me know. You're very welcome, Kim, my love. Jacqueline, if you can please let me know your question. Because I have Jacqueline to do. Lee Breach is after Jacqueline, and then I've got Jordan Fairburn. So those three are next, and that will probably do us out for the over 2 hours. Okay. Oh, why are you saying that, my lovely? I'm so glad that I know you. You're an amazing person. I wish I could give you a big cuddle. Why are you offering me a cuddle, my love? What's going on? What's your question? I'm so glad you waited around. It's been a long night. So, hit me with it. Hit me with it. I mean, you might know me, but we went on a cruise, 2015? 2013 was first, wasn't it? I think I met you on the YBF cruise 2013. And then I think you were also on the second one, 2015. I think that was correct, with all the YBF girls. Could you imagine anyone that's still watching? Can you can you imagine the first cruise? There was 100 women running around with red feather boas and tiaras in this group that we were on a cruise with. My goodness, it was it was it was the best cruise. No question, just a big cuddle to you and a big, oh, you're so gorgeous. But you donated into my PayPal. So do you have a question that I can answer for you? Because you're so lovely yourself. You know, you didn't have to do that if you didn't want a question answered. But, you know, if there's anything going on that I can help you with, I shall do. I was just saying, like, you know, oh, you're just so funny. You're just going to come up with these compliments for how long? 100 women, red feather boas and tiaras on a cruise ship. Can you imagine? We had brows by the pool where everybody learned how to do their eyebrows in the right way. That was fun. And we had a makeup tutorial day where we had 100 of us with a beauty bag, and we did makeup from start to finish. Some had rollers in their hair, and we had a pajama party where everyone turned up in the disco nightclub in their pajamas, and I think I had a racing thing number on for memory, which there's a few photos floating around on that. It was an awesome cruise, and I met some amazing people, and I thank all those people. A couple of them have since passed. Jacqueline, you were one of them, and it was such a pleasure to meet you back then, and I'm so glad we're still here. Okay. You've been seeing shadows. Okay. What I want to say to you is that I don't call things like that shadows. What I know what they are is their burst of energy. So they're burst of energy from spirit. So spirit is trying to connect with you in a way where where I have to say that okay, I'm just being alerted to the last couple of months. There's been some really stressful situations that has probably made your energy decrease, and your positive nature, even that has decreased. Oh, you've just written something. And I won that beautiful caftan that I donated to the Children's Hospital. Yes, you did. That gorgeous pale pink, was it the pale pink one with the beautiful diamantes all down the front? Absolutely gorgeous, from Silk Islands caftans. I don't think Christine's watching, but I'll give her a plug anyway, because she makes the most divine caftans. Actually, she's got a show this Sunday on TVSN, to be quite honest. Well, no, sorry, the 25th, I think she's got a special show. Anyway, Silk Island caftans on TVSN, if anyone's interested in looking at those. But yeah, Jacqueline, I believe your energy has been depleted. So that vivacious, spark, I say it that way, has decreased. And a bit of mixed feelings going on with a couple of situations that you're going through as well. I don't know what that is. I don't know what, like, I really don't want to bring COVID or anything into the mix, but it's the last few months where there's been this downhill of your, your spark energy decreasing to, like, and maybe you've had a lot on your plate, maybe you've come up against a brick wall, but you just kind of seem to be stuck on a few things. It's spirit's way of, like, as you call them, shadows. It's spirit's way of kind of like walking past you, sort of saying, we're here. We're here if you want to connect, but we're also here giving you our love. We're also trying to let you know that, that you're not too far from our thoughts. So, because I think, well, not what I think, it's what I hear, it's 3 different people. So it's not just one spirit. I get that it's 3. So if you've had and this is going to sound a little bit weird, but if you've had, in a short period of time, if you've had 3 pass, then I want to say to you, they're all together. Now that short time can be over like a 2-year period, a 3-year period. I call that a short time when you lose somebody, if you lose them in consecutive ways. But it's either or. It's virtually 3 people coming to you to say that, that they're there, and they love you, and they're noticing that this spark of yours is not quite 100% right at the moment. So if you're going through a lot of stuff and you need to debrief or whatnot, excuse me, please sing out and we can have a one-on-one session, because the more you ponder on that and the more you're giving that a chance to decrease even further, then your spark could decrease too much, yeah? So I kind of need that loving, that vivacious Jacqueline to come back. And if there's issues that you think are bigger than Ben-Hur that you can't sort out, again, please reach out, because if it's looked at in a different perspective, it may bring it into perspective, if that makes sense. And I do say that with respect. So just a few things that possibly are getting on top of you that you haven't been able to master, in a way that is suitable for you, or the outcome doesn't seem like it's suitable to you, then we need to kind of like move forward with that. Oh, excuse me, I'm being a thing in the throat again. Because I think one of them, you thought you were kind of out and above it, but it's come back. And I just feel that the shadows that you're seeing, I just think that I get that it's 3 spirits and 3 loving spirits that are just trying to tell you that they're on your side and that things will, will get better. But you've got to change some things up in your mind, okay? Because there's a certain way I believe that you're looking at a few situations, and I believe just it's got a little bit of influence in there rather than perspective. And if I can give you an outside perspective on certain things, then let's have a session, because you with depleted energy is not. And you know me, what I'm going to say. It's not a good thing to have you with depleted energy, because you kind of lose who you are, and we don't want that, because you are that fun-loving person. You are that person that gives, another person the shirt off the back. You are that fun-loving person. You are that person with a kind heart. That's not all going to stop, but there's not that bubbliness behind it at the moment. So it's a little bit flat. And again, as you know, I say everything with respect. So being a bit flat, let's kind of open up what that is, and maybe connect with me privately, and let's have a session and possibly go through that. And let me see if I can just bounce that way out of you. And yeah, so I hope all that makes sense, and I hope you work out, or that you know who those 3 people are in consecutive, passing in consecutive quite quickly, that are there. And then no spirit is ever there to hurt or harm anybody. So if anyone believes that's all TV stuff. It's not right. Spirit is only energy, and it's always there to help you, to embrace you, to send love and all that sort of stuff. So so Jacqueline, I think you know what I'm talking about. And you'll get there. You're like, I have no qualms. And in a shorter time rather than a long time, if you hang on to those things, you'll stew over them. And the more you stew over them, the more your subconscious picks up the negative, and that's what's bringing you to flat. Yeah. So yeah, I just need you to get back to you, my love. So thank you for joining, and thank you for sticking around and waiting for your question to be answered, even though you didn't really want a question in the end. But yeah, well, you got one. So bless you, my love. Okay, Lee Bridge. If Lee is here, still here, God love you. So I have Lee and I have Jordan. So Jordan, maybe if you get your question ready for me to do Lee first, and that would be great. So Lee, Lee Bridge, I need you to. Oh, okay, you're here. Of course you're here. You weren't going to run away until you got a reading. So what can I do for you, my love? What's your burning question? Rather than a general over the next few months, because there's parts of people are in lockdown, parts of them aren't in lockdown, so different things can be arising. But if you've got a burning question that you really do need answered, please throw that one at me, and then I can address that and see what else is going on around it. That would be good. Have you been offered something as well? Have you been offered? Is there something to do with a contract? The first two things I get. There's an offer and there's either a contract on the table that you're mulling over, or you've missed something with a contract. Do you see my situation working itself out, please? Has it got to do with this contract that I saw? I see a contract, and I virtually see someone flipping over pages. So I do believe it's about. Oh, wow. Okay, I do believe it's about 6 pages long. Can you just confirm that for me, please, love? Even if it's a bit different to what you're asking. Recently, has there been a contract involved in something? So I know I've got your question about the situation, but is there anything to do with the contract previously that's recent, or that you know of that's coming up? Because that's the first thing I got shown was a contract. And if not, I'll put the contract aside for a moment. The other thing that I get shown too is there's whatever your situation is, with all due respects, who's the stubborn one that's not budging? Who is the and when I say stubborn, I also mean that that party, and whether it's yourself or somebody else, it doesn't matter, but that party seems to put like a block up or like a wall up in front of themselves, because they don't seem to want to divulge too much information. It's almost like, if I don't say a lot, that person will kind of give up type thing. Okay. Okay, I'll put the contract to the side for a minute because we couldn't work that out. So I'll come back to that another time. My ear's burning. So, okay. So if you think it's you, and this may be, again with respect, this may be a stubborn streak in you, or it may be because somebody has backed you into a corner and you're then now guarding yourself, as in to say, do you know what, if I say too much, I'm going to put myself in the shit, I've got to say it. But if because that person could run away with certain information, okay? But I need you to be a bit more, not that I need you, sorry, I shouldn't. I say things sometimes where I think, oh, it sounds like I'm lecturing, and I'm actually not lecturing. It's actually what I hear from spirit. It's almost like they're saying to me, if you keep your guard up and don't give a little, and we can all be stubborn in certain things if we believe we're right, but if you keep your guard up too much, the situation is not going to rectify itself, and you're not going to be able to move forward from it. In fact, it will take you backwards. So I'm wondering if I could ask if you think there is a way that you could actually bring your guard down a little bit. You don't have to bring it down totally. And I understand why the guard is up, because there's hurt there. There is probably even a loss of power. And I say that with respect. But you need to be able to, pardon the pun, it's not one of those situations where you could lay all the cards on the table as such, because you still have to keep your guard up to a degree. But I think it's up too tightly, and I think that if you just release it a little bit and be able to communicate a little bit more freer, then things won't be as bad as what you believe they are right now. Does that make sense? Because to me, I kind of get shown like this brick up against my chest. And it's like, if I don't release that brick, I'm just going to suffocate here. But if I release it a little bit, the pressure's off a little bit. So that's where spirit takes me with this. So if I release it a little bit and I bring my guard down a little bit, then I don't feel as trapped. So that's what I'm getting from spirit. So if you can actually do a little bit of that, or maybe just reevaluate the situation and work out the bits that you can bring your guard down a little bit, and therefore you'll be able to successfully negotiate, if that makes sense. So when you can successfully negotiate, and I'm just going to throw a scenario, and it may not be your scenario, but I just have to put it this way. So just say you were in a legal battle where you wanted 80% and the other person to get 20. And if your guard was stuck on 80%, you could end up losing the lot, and then you've got nothing. But if you brought your guard down to 70% and tried to negotiate a little bit, then it becomes successful, because you've come down a little bit because you're a little bit high, but then you're able to negotiate rather than losing the lot. So that's just a little bit of explanation to kind of show you that there's negotiations that can be made. I'm not saying that part is your scenario. That's just one that, that my dad threw at me and kind of went, do you know what, just throw it out as a scenario. But whatever your situation is, if you keep that guard up, you could lose the lot. You could lose more than you bargained for, and then you're going to be very, very sad. Then you're going to be angry. Then you're going to kick yourself for not actually going, do you know what? I went in too hard. I went in too tough, and I was stubborn. And then you're going to get cranky at your own stubbornness, and then that's going to get worse, because then you're going to dig the heels in. So is all this making sense? Because spirit just keep taking me on this little walk of, you're kicking yourself, and then you're beating yourself up, and then you're hitting a wall saying, oh my God, I shouldn't have done that. And I didn't want to become that person, but I have. This is all about when you keep your guard up too hard, it makes you that hard person. And if in normal life, if you're a little bit stubborn, it actually makes that, not because you're, determined to make yourself more stubborn, it just does that automatically. Yeah. So I kind of need you to break a little bit of a barrier down with yourself. Not, as I said, don't drop it completely, because there still needs to be that intelligent, strong, voice that comes out of you, because you still need to look after you, but you just don't need to go so hard. Yeah. So, and that was all without disclosing the situation, because we don't need to disclose that. So I hope all that helps. Please let me know how you go with that, and if there's anything else that you wanted thrown in there, because I just think if you do that, the next probably okay, wow, spirit jumping here. It's almost like if you can start to do that in the next week, it's also more about the next 3 to 4 months. Okay, but I'm going past the 4 months. 3 to 4 months, it'll be more beneficial to you to go this particular way, but also to further from that, you end up having information that actually makes or allows you to expand on something else that you've got in your mind right now. Okay. Do I have any family members with you? I did have, because my dad he was the one that was kind of screaming in my ear there for a while, but I also had another gentleman who didn't make himself overly clear, so I didn't know whether that was for you or not. I'm kind of getting a few strays tonight where they're not really saying who they are. But this gentleman was military, and because and maybe he is connected to you, because that, with all due respect, it was almost like he was the one that was showing me the stubbornness. He was the one that was showing me this, head held high, chest out, stand your ground type thing. And he was the one I was kind of in my head arguing with, to kind of say, but if you go that way and stay that way, then things are going to be worse off for you, because you could lose the lot. So if the military person rings a bell with you, well, then that was somebody that was in your family that was actually quite stubborn, and very set in his ways. And also too, with two medals. The two medals were very prominent on his uniform. And also, I won't say a good moustache, but maybe someone who grew it only for certain occasions, like maybe for charity or something or other, because it wasn't a real good one. If that makes sense. Spirit loves just throwing me things where I kind of go, really? You want me to say that? But yeah. But if he relates to you, he's funny, but pretty stark in ways he did things in life. But yeah. And I want to say to you too, that person also had heart issues, because I kind of got stabbed in the chest along the same way. So I'm kind of thinking, just throw everything out me. It's okay. So Lee, if he rang a bell, great. And if he didn't, then he's obviously here for maybe just for moral support, to throw that at you with the stubbornness. But I don't believe that you are stubborn as such. I believe that you have a kind heart. But whatever that situation is, it's kind of puts you in that way. Oh, okay. It's not really you. It's Jordan. Jordan, is that your uncle? Maybe he was preparing himself for you. I don't know, because as I said, I was just getting thrown this just weird thing, and I kept thinking he's not saying his name, but he's here for a reason, and he was just, standing there and just showing me this side to him that I actually really thought it was for Lee, because I was talking about the Lee. No, I was hoping that Lee wouldn't go into more stubbornness. So Jordan, if he's your uncle, and Lee, if he wasn't associated with you, then maybe he just had some wise words for you. But yeah. So Jordan has just said he always grew a mow out from November. Well, Jordan, then I then have your uncle with me, who. But is that him also too as well, with the military and the two medals and the very stark, like, I mean, I was laughing at him only because what you were saying, that, I thought he was connected with Lee, but obviously connected to you. So did he have this harsh way of speaking or dealing with people, because he was so regimentated, and yeah, I will say stubborn, because he was in my ear, kind of stomping his foot as if to say, I'm in charge of this conversation, and showing me that stubborn side, but very chest out, very stark. But yeah, a bit of a laugh about him, because he, with respect, it's like he thought he was, do I dare say this? Thought he was good looking with the mo. No, not military. Okay. Well, in hindsight, when spirit shows me military, the medals can be either or. I mean, I got shown the two medals, but also too, sometimes when they show military, they also, it's part of their personality that they come across like a military person, because military people are, not all, but when spirit shows a military person, and when we normally have to describe a military person, they are normally chest out and normally in control, because they've led a life of being, kind of regimentated and learnt, respect and this stubbornness and this is who I am, and all that sort of stuff. So it can be a few different things, but the two medals could be something else. It could be two medals that, if they showed me they were on the uniform, it could be that your uncle then had what do you call it, won something in their life, twice. whether he won something in gaining a medal for, I don't know, I'm plucking now because he's just kind of laughing at me in the background now. But if he won medals for a job or for sport or for something that he was quite proud of, then they can also be shown as medals on a military outfit. My nan hated it. Do you mean your nan hated it, but he loved it? Did he kind of think to himself, he thought it was actually pretty cool. Like he thought he was, no disrespect to your nan, but it's like he thought he was a ladies' man with it instead of without it. Yeah? Does that make sense? But a loving character. So, Jordan, is there anything that is there a question that you actually needed answering apart from us bouncing around between Lee and yourself with that spirit, which was actually quite funny. So, Jordan, if you had a question, that would also be good. It could be squash. So, did he win medals in squash or something? Did he? Oh my goodness, that is so funny. I was wondering if you have any messages from my uncle whose anniversary was yesterday. Also, am I making the right career choices with going back to study? Look, your uncle was like your dad, which is probably, again, why he's showing me this, like a side of him that was the part of him being in control, is almost like, if I look at it in another way, of him being in charge of you type thing. So, if the love and the respect was there, like, that you thought that he treated you like a dad, like, he treated you like a son rather than a nephew, then of course I understand why he's showing himself the way he does. But I also want to say to you that you feel him. You can kind of sense when he's around, because you feel a little bit different. And I'm wondering whether at times you've actually tried to communicate with him, because all I'm getting is this nod from this gentleman. But I also wanted to say to you, are you making the right choices with going back to study? I believe it will further enhance your ability to go on to do bigger and better things than what you do right now, if that's the way I can say that. But I'm also questioning the time. I'm questioning whether you have enough hours to be fully focused on the study, because I don't want you to go back into it if you're I have to say it the way I hear it, if you're half-assed about it, you're going to come a cropper. Okay, so it's one of those tales where it's one in all in type situation. If you're really serious about it, you need to kind of pull. You need to have 100% focus on the study. If you're, I just keep hearing from spirit, if you're half-assed about it, you're not going to get the marks that will require you to be able to use it to your advantage to better who you are. Do you know what I mean? So if you don't get the right marks, it's almost like, what did I do it for? So if you don't have enough time now, make time if you're already doing it. But if you're not starting it for a little while, then please have a look at all your schedules and work out whether it's the right time to pick it up, because you need to be focused in the hours that it needs every single week. If you don't have those hours and only do it half-assed, you'll kind of be flippant about it, and you kind of won't get what you're supposed to get done with it every week. You'll probably, you'll end up falling behind the wayside, and then you'll just end up going, do you know what, why am I doing this? So you need to be, no one can make these decisions for you. I'm guided by what Spirit says, and there's virtually saying, if you're half-assed about it, then think about it at a different time and don't do it right now. But if you're committed, I know from what I hear from Spirit that if you do it, it will benefit you in the long run to advance yourself at the end of the day. And by doing that, that will create a better lifestyle for yourself, but it will also, because it will also create, like, more funds. So the abundance is there if you want to put the work in, if that makes sense. But if you don't have enough time to do all the work right now, then why are you actually wanting to do it? Because then you're asking the universe to give you something for free. Do you know what I mean? So you have to work out yourself where your head's at. They're showing me one thing. I need the commitment from you to know that, it will bring you what you're wanting, but have you got the time to do it right now? Do you need to defer for 6 months? Because I get shown the 6 as well. Or can you finish it in 6 months? 2 different ways of looking at that. Do you have the time? And if not, maybe put it off for a bit longer. If you do and you really want it, you'll achieve it in that 6-month period, because I get shown the 6. Tell me what your decision is, my love. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? Yeah, I get you need to reduce hours from work, I think. Okay. So is it something you actually want to do right now? 7-month course. Okay. Do you believe that you've got the patience and the time to throw into it now? I don't necessarily want you to reduce hours of work. Only apply tonight. Need to wait for acceptance. Okay. Because if you're already talking about reducing hours, you've also got to weigh up money here as well. My voice is so calming. I think that, Jean, thank you. I think there'd be many people that say, are you kidding? She drives me nuts with her voice. I used to sing years ago. I used to sing. I used to read books. I used to do presentations. I still do presentations. I speak at funerals. A lot of people ask me to speak at funerals for them. So thank you for telling me my voice is calming. When I'm yelling, it might be calming. Jordan, you need a career. Okay. If you're focused on changing your career and they accept you, most times it's normally your reaction from the acceptance is how you find out how you're really passionate about, doing it. Because if you get really excited that you're accepted, your whole heart is in it and you know it. If you accept it and you go, oh yeah, they got, I'm allowed to do it, then it's kind of like a throwaway thing. Do you know what I mean? So if you're looking at this career change and they accept you and the excitement is there, then that's a bloody good thing, And I'm actually hearing from Spirit that it'll be all positive, hence why they're talking about it, like, before, with the amount of study. But if you pace yourself, when you have a look at, like, the study plan as such, if you pace yourself and maybe change a few things around, you'll breeze in the study because you'll know how important it is. And I feel that you'll be very good at it. I think that the marks that you'll get will be quite high. But again, I just need you to be focused on the decision. Yeah? Because I feel that it'll be fabulous for you. I think that you'll romp it in, but don't allow, this is what I hear from my nan. It's like, don't allow personal invites to get in the way of study. So if you've got, say, a night of study planned out or 2 nights of study planned out, and someone rings and says, tomorrow night, do you want to go out party? I know that sounds weird because we're under all lockdown, but you know what I mean? Like, if someone says that, and if your first impression is, yeah, let's go out and party, then you've just blown, what you've thought about all this study. So you've got to be diligent and make, precise decisions. That if someone's actually going to do that, is it worth the struggle and the torment that you've blown it just to go out and have a few drinks with someone. You can always change the night of going out and having drinking if you've planned a night of study. Does all that make sense? Because if you're on the right path with all the ways that you're going to do this study, then, I believe it's the best thing you can do. And I believe it will benefit you greatly to get in and do it. Do you know what I mean? I think you'll be very successful. If you want to privately message me what the course is, I'd love to hear what that is. If you don't want to put it public. Awesome. Good. I'm glad. I'm glad we got that one organised. Sensational. All righty. Look, it's been a crazy night at the beginning with technology. Certainly for whatever reason, technology wasn't on my side. I've gone 2.5 hours. Every connection has been with spirit. It's been wonderful. Anyone that's had their readings with me tonight, I know you put up, Jordan, I will probably inbox you that one. It's just gone too long, that's all. And my throat's going. Look, in hindsight, Jordan, the main thing that came through from spirit and him was your study and a few jokes in the beginning. But I will touch probably a little bit more on that. Okay. I will probably send you another. Have I got your? Are you friends with me on Facebook? Can I text you something or whatever? But yeah. I really just want to say to everybody, thank you. In the ones that are still here from the very beginning. We did have some technical difficulties, which kind of made the initial 20 minutes crappy before I logged out of that and came onto the phone. I don't normally do it on the phone, but it was successful for this whole 2.5 hours, so fabulous. Anyone that's had any readings with me tonight and the connections with spirit, you did quick validations on the live, which is fabulous. But if you'd like to write me a review, I'd really, really appreciate that, because that's how my business grows, with people who take 5 minutes to write a review, and then people constantly read that, and then people are drawn to me for many, not just that, but people are drawn to me for who I am. But if anyone wanted to do a review, that would be fantastic. I'd really appreciate that. You're certainly not, you don't have to, because it's all good. And I'm going to, with everything that I've had on the cards lately, as I said, I lost someone quite special to me a little while ago, and it's kind of everything that I had to do around that kind of left me no time to come on live, because I used to do this every Tuesday night, and it's threw me way out of whack there for a while, but I'm hoping that all that comes back into line. So tonight, being a Thursday night, wasn't a normal night either. So I normally do Tuesday nights at 8. So hopefully next week that gets back to normal. If it's not next week, it'll be the week after, where it will come back into line to a normal weekly thing. Which is fabulous, because I love doing these for you guys, and I appreciate all your feedback. I appreciate everybody viewing. You're always a great crowd. You always laugh at my stories, which is even funny, it's cool, because everyone gets to know the personality of me, where I can be hilarious 1 minute, and then I can just be so focused in listening to spirit the next minute. But that's my personality. So I thank you all for that. I do have something exciting I never shared with anybody in the beginning, was that I've been headhunted by the ABC to kind of do it's in the making, so I kind of don't know everything about it, but it's to speak up and to talk about like some stigmas that have been around in the world, like are all psychics real? Is it domestic violence victims being listened to, or are they being separated, whatever? Can older women date younger men? All this sort of stuff. Like, there's a lot of stigmas that go on in life, good, bad and the ugly, there's more to come on that. It'll end up being a show, and they've asked me if I'll be a professional on the panel. So I'll be an expert panelist on that. So that will be fun. It probably won't air for about another year, but it will all be gone. Ariel, I've been on here 2.5 hours. I've been doing readings all night, love. So this is my wind up to get off. I was just saying that I'm normally here every Tuesday night, so hopefully that comes back to normal. I was just saying what I've kind of been involved in. So Ariel, I'm sorry that you've joined at this time. I normally do 2 hour readings, and I've gone 2.5, so I will be jumping off. So this is me thanking everybody for a wonderful night, and thank you all for joining. Thank you all for being patient, because the readings did build up there a bit. So thank you all for being patient and waiting for your readings. And yeah, love you all very much, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now. I can sign out of it now.